2022 September, I found a lump, and within a month, I was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer. It went from, you must have surgery, mastectomy right away, radiation and chemotherapy, to no surgery, chemotherapy right now to extend your life. And I take my time making decisions, thank God. And I'm stubborn, just ask my husband. And I did not do the initial things they said. I went into the unknown big time because I'm in the healthcare field and I know what I thought I knew. And I knew I needed to follow my intuition. So by the time I started feeling more relaxed in my nervous system, because I knew that I needed to be in homeostasis to heal. So that was my main focus. And this is me before I've done any week-long retreats. I love you so much. I read all your books and I've followed this work for a long time, but I wasn't doing the meditations. But I knew I needed to calm down, so I was.
How many people understand what she just said? Do you understand, like, the first thing she was going to master was what? Staying in balance and regulating her emotional state. Theoretically, that sounds like, oh yeah, anyway, that's a big deal. It's a big deal because she understood in order for her body to heal, she'd have to be back into homeostasis. Do you understand? Stress is when you move out of homeostasis.
Absolutely. And that was like a continual thing every 5 minutes. Oops, I'm out, come back. You know, like just keep coming back. Breathe. In January of just 4 months later, I had my first PET scan, and it was metastasized into the bones, so ribs and hips and back. And I said, well, it's not stage 5. I'm already stage 4, so I'm going to just keep going with what I'm doing and keep believing that what I'm doing for my treatment is to heal my mind. And I knew that right away. That was the first thing I had to do. I had to fire a few medical professionals that were not supportive of me, and the journey was a little crooked, but it all worked out. And I just kept asking for. When I had doubt, I felt like I needed to know who else has done this. And I had a thought one night in a meditation that if one person can do this, then I can do this. And the next day, and this is before I knew anything about stories of transformation, the next day in my YouTube feed, this beautiful woman named Monique shared her story, which was like almost identical to mine. And I was like, okay, game on. I gotta pull out my book and get my old, I had Changing the Habits of Being Yourself on my phone, and I got it out and I started listening to it 2-3 times a day. And I just kept plodding at that, and it was not easy to find that new box. But I knew that if I just kept practicing, I'd eventually get there. And I do remember the meditation that I had the feeling, and I knew that I could see it all. And that was about a year ago now when that started. And I had my second PET scan in May. The doctor wanted to see what was going on, and because he wanted a brain scan, he wanted me to start chemo. He's like, Shauna, you're making me really nervous. And I go, I know, doc. I know, but I'm doing my thing. And I went in for the PET scan and didn't look at the results because I knew it was healing. I went on vacation the next day and decided I'd look at it later. It was like me tempting the universe, I think, a little bit, but I'm stubborn, like I said. So I looked at the results, and it said 0 metabolic activity present in the entire body. So the only problem I have is that I keep going to the doctor, and he keeps wanting to tell me not to think this way. And he tells me it's going to come back, and you're really playing here. And I'm not upset with him. I'm actually, it's like I want to be shown where the fear is still. I want to be shown that I can still do this, and there are more layers to this that need to be healed. And so I'm just so grateful for this community, because I know this is the place to do that. And I've been blessed to be in the Coherence Healing this weekend, and it's been so that I can receive love, because that's been the hardest thing for me in all of this. So.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Now, imagine she never came to a week-long retreat. She decided that she had to heal her mind, stay in homeostasis, and she had to start to do something. And she started to do the breaking the habit of being herself meditation, sometimes 3 times a day. And she wasn't doing that meditation to heal. She was doing that meditation to change. And if she truly changed, she believed she would heal. The disease exists in the old personality. She's literally someone else, and she did it on her own. She didn't even come to a week-long event. She studied the content. She studied the material. She's in the health industry. She understands it. She wraps her mind around it. She's believing that it's possible, and when she loses her belief in that possibility, she goes at it again to change that belief. And it takes an enormous amount of energy. It takes an enormous amount of awareness to change a belief, because people will stand on this stage all the time and they'll say, "Oh, I believe this stuff works. I just didn't believe it could work for me." Oh, that's a big moment. That means you got to get out of the bleachers and you got to get on the playing field. That means you got to show up for you, and you got to prove to yourself that it does work for you. Bilateral breast cancer, stage 4, metastasized to the bones. You ask any oncologist when it gets to the bones. And the PET scans and the analysis show that there's no active cancer in her body. That should cause you to change your belief in possibility. This is the living example of truth right in front of you. It's the 4-minute mile.